Lots of people think drawing hands is scary. Even me. It's taken me ages to build up the courage to make this film because it's something that even I lack confidence with sometimes. The art gremlins sit on my shoulder and tell me I'm no good at things, and I'm sure they do that to you too, little rapscallions. Comment below and tell me your biggest creative gremlin right now. There is definitely a horror attached to hand drawing, and I've been thinking this week about why. I think it's because they're such a diverse thing in terms of their shape, texture and colour. Hands are so articulate that there isn't really a good formula for drawing them. They can become all sorts of different shapes and be put in so many different positions. No wonder we get scared. Everyone's hands are different. The proportions change as we age. Children's hands are different from adult hands. Hands differ because of who we are. A delicate princess's hands are very different from, say, those of a 50-year-old man who's worked on a building site his whole life. Some artists take the coward's way out and put hands in pockets or suspiciously out of shot rather than take the bull by the horns. I used to do that too, I'm afraid, because there is no one definitive "this is how to draw hands" fabulous formula, I'm afraid. I'm not going to appear as if by magic like the shopkeeper in Mr. Ben and fix everything. However, there are some tips I can give you to help you understand how they fit together so that you can improve your observational skills and make better drawings. So we'll start with the bone structure. The long bones are called the phalanxes, the metatarsus and the carpus. The two arm bones are the ulna and the radius. In between there are 7 different small bones in the wrist with long names. This isn't actually important for us as artists to know what these bones are called. What's important to us is where they are and what shape they are. We need to think about their placement when hands are in different positions so that we can more easily visualise what a hand looks like and why. It helps when something looks wrong in your drawing to think about where the bones would be when you're trying to figure out why it's wrong and then fix it. So now I'm going to show you how I do things. This isn't a definitive method, I'm not saying it's the only way, it's just my way. So take from this what you will, but mix it in with your own method. I'm going to make some important points about the shape and form of the hand in different positions that you need to take into consideration when drawing hands. I see the hands as having 4 different planes. There's a weird trapezium shape for the palm of the hand, usually wider at the fingers than at the wrist. There's no better word for this shape that I can find, so it's the weird trapezium bit. The fingers have 3 planes, bending at the point of the knuckles. Most of the time it's useful to use these as if you've put a hand in your drawing in a pair of mittens. Disregard the fiddly fingers bit and think about the general direction, length and depth of the fingers as a group. The thumb can be tricky. Divide it into 2, a triangle pointing out from the side of the weird trapezium that represents the carpus bone, and a rectangle for the thumb itself at this stage. It'll help to add circles at the points where the knuckles will be. It will help you space out the fingers properly. Again, just block out the fingers as rectangles to start with, and remember, the knuckles that join the fingers to the hand sit further back than the ends of the fingers, with webs of skin in between. Now lots of people draw fingers and then end up with sausages or a bunch of bananas look, which isn't what you want. Cartoonists use the 4 fingers instead of 5 look so that they avoid this problem when drawing the simplified forms that they use. Mickey Mouse, The Simpsons, all the Looney Tunes characters, for example, have this. It's important to notice how the flesh on the hand works. If you curl your fingers, which you naturally do most of the time, what happens to the skin? Take a look at your hands right now. The flesh squishes, causing bumps on the palm side, but it stretches on the back, leaving them quite flat. You need to reflect this in your drawing. Flat backs and squishy middles. Now hold your hand out in front of you across your body. Look at the line across the back of your arm, your hand and your fingers. Try to hold your arm at a position that gives you a straight line across this plane. It's quite unnatural, isn't it? It feels odd. Nobody holds their hand like this naturally, so why would you draw it like that? If you hold your arm naturally, there will be a bend or even a step at the wrist. So my trick is to draw a circle at the wrist point and consider the bend when you draw. People rarely hold their fingers tightly together. They tend to splay out from the body of the hand, so you need to reflect that in your drawing. It's subtle, but it's there. Make sure you draw gaps between fingers that follow this radiating pattern. The reverse happens when you hold your hand in a fist. The tips of your fingers move towards your palm and bunch together, often towards the fleshy bit at the bottom of your thumb. Try it now, you'll see what I mean. One of the strange things that I've found about drawing hands is that the more complicated they look, the easier they are to draw well. This might sound counterintuitive, but I find it hard to draw a flat hand with all its fingers straight. It's easier when the fingers are all at strange angles because you have points of reference to work with. It's simpler to draw each finger using the adjacent one as a reference for the shape and position. It's harder to do this when they're all lying straight. Well, you might disagree, let me know in the comments. Again, this is all just my opinion, and it's no more or less valid than yours. My last tip is about curves. Some people simplify their drawings and draw boxy hands. The back of your hand, however, is not a flat plane. The thumb often sits in front of your palm, unless your hand is flat on the surface like a table. The back of your hand curves most of the time, which is why the fingers move towards the fleshy bit of the thumb when you curl them in, as I said a moment ago. It's important to take this into account in order to give your drawings more realism. Hands are all about proper observation. Looking closely and really seeing is a vital skill here. So use your own hands as a reference and start sketching, because in this instance the only way to get better and take away the fear is to keep trying. In psychology they call it exposure therapy. Hate spiders? Then keep looking at and poking spiders until it doesn't bother you anymore. Unless you're in Australia. Don't poke spiders in Australia. Unfortunately, and I hate to say this, the only way forward is to practice. So doodle when you get the chance. Your non-dominant hand will always be ready and willing to model for you at a moment's notice for free. Oh, and one last word before you go about movement. Your body is always moving. It's always thinking ahead on its way to do something. Think about where a hand has been and where it's about to go. The key to a good drawing is the illusion of life. Try not to draw things in a static way, particularly when looking at a living form. Think about your pose. Does it imply something about its path through the air, even on a basic level? In short, does it look like it's alive? I want to help you. It's the only reason I'm here making new episodes for you each week. So come and join the Artymous tribe. You can ask me anything about creativity by commenting below, finding me on Instagram at Artymous76, or joining our private Facebook group Artymous Art Tutorials. I also offer personal help. Sign up at the link below to find out more about that. and get secret squirrel weekly tips and ideas from me. See you soon.